Hi.
It's
I'm in
already
charge.
been a strange morning.
Oh my gosh, it's been a strange life. I'm in charge of the button. You think I'd be better prepared for the introduction?
You would think.
Hey, look,
Yeah.
we're congruent. You have on a pink blouse. I have on a pink blouse. I have on a black bra. You have on a black bra.
You're not supposed to see my bra.
Well, but I did. So anyway, that means we're on the same wavelength according to NLP and other things. So
Uh,
hi there. That's Luann Morris and her black bra, pink
Hello.
blouse. This is Deborah Colleen Rose and her black bra and her pink blouse or t-shirt. This is Watch Out, We're Talking Again. Or We're Talking Again, Watch Out. So
One of those.
yeah, who cares?
One.
So anyway, it's Labor Day. And we were not going to record today, but it's been a heck of a week. It's been a heck of a weekend. And we said, why not? So this is our podcast for this week. And we don't have a clue what we're doing, and we don't care because we're old and we're cranky. So I do want to say two things though. Luann and I went to Party Fest, which was a convention last week for party vendors, and I am so impressed. This is Custom Button Services, and you can find them at cbs-productions.com. I think this is the best idea of something simple that I've ever seen for anything. And I think this is a great idea for weddings because people have to sit around and twiddle their thumbs waiting on the bridal party to get their pictures taken. And they should. This is their day. They should do what they want to do. But this is something the rest of the group could do while they're waiting on that. And this is me and Luann at the Party Fest convention. And it has a neat background. They take your picture just like a photo booth, but then they take it and they put it on a button. See, it's got the pin, or you can put a magnet on it and put it on your fridge, which I like fridge magnets.
Right.
Or they have another one that's got some doohickey thing on it where you can put a ribbon in it and you can use it as a Christmas ornament. So you could actually have a background that says the year or something and
Yeah.
get so so I'm plugging them, and maybe the two people that listen to this thing will one of the two will call.
Uh,
But we both got one, and I just thought that was awesome. I really did. So just throwing that out there.
uh, it was really easy
What?
to do.
What are you doing?
Oh,
You
I'm
look like
doing
you have a
something
stroke.
else. It
Are
was
you?
really easy to, I mean, if you had a background like wedding of William and Martha.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
yeah.
Family reunions. You
Mhm.
know, any kind of party, anything,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't have to have the background of what's going on. You could just have a plain background, so you could use it for whatever. You
Right.
know, and I'm thinking of all kinds of things you could use this for. But the
And
only
I
thing you couldn't use it for is if you wanted to use them as name tags at an orgy. That wouldn't work. Well, it wouldn't unless
no,
you could
no,
put it on.
you'd have to, but perhaps if you put the little hanger on it, you could either hold on to put it,
You had
you know,
nipple rings. You could hang it from. Hi, look, I'm Deborah. Oh my God, it's too early in the morning for this. I'm sorry.
my allergies are just still kicking my butt. So
Did you get
excuse
the
me.
silver like I told you to?
No, I
No.
haven't been that far. I
Then
haven't.
I have no pity for you. There's no excuse for it. So get over it. Oh, let me tell you something else I found out that I want to plug because I love it. And we don't get paid for any of this stuff because we don't have any followers yet. So we're just doing this because we want to. We took the grandchild, Squishy, which I'm not supposed to call her, but she's not here, so I'll say it, to the Rockwall Farmers Market. And there's this guy out there, and I couldn't tell you what he looked like because I was too busy with my face in his dip plate. He makes dips, and it's called the Amazing Dip. And he is not a liar. He is not a liar. We got two of the dips. It was artichoke and spinach dip, and the other, man, those lips on your face are jumping out. It looks like caterpillars coming. Um, and we have fake makeup on through Zoom, and it does weird things sometimes.
Yes, when you
Um,
put your finger in front of it, it does weird things too.
I just went away when you did that, but I forgot what I was saying. Oh, so and then we got the Hatch chili Gouda bacon dip. Oh my god, I ate that all weekend. It was so good, and you can get those at Central Market, and they're called the Amazing Dip. So I don't.
Amazing dip, huh?
Yeah. When I find something I like to tell people about it because I like to spread goodwill and put that good energy out there because there's so much crap out there I don't like. And I just can't focus on that. Just can't. So
Well, this is not identifying it like
she's still looking for the name of this rock. Here's my third shout out.
this is made
Is it,
especially for us from one of our friends, Karen, and she gave me the name, but I didn't commit it to memory. So when I tried to look it up in an app, it's calling it the Boulder Opal.
I was going to say, it looks like it has opal streaks in it.
Yeah, and that's what this app is calling it, but that is not what she called it. But it doesn't matter.
But isn't that gorgeous? And she just sent that to us out of the blue. And
I mean,
no
they're
pressure, but we
calling it
love.
an Australian opal. Doesn't it look like that?
Yeah, it looks exactly like that.
Okay.
It's a nice rock. It's huge, and I will be wearing that. I will be wearing that as soon as I get it away from your little hobbit hands. So,
Hobbit. Okay.
hobbit, hobbit
Well,
hands.
I know you saw the picture, and really, Deborah is not standing on a stool. I'm just that short.
She really is. she's
I'm just that
she's a
short.
cutie patootie. And I wanted to make a joke. Can I make a joke about what you just said?
Yeah.
She cannot commit things to memory because you cannot commit things to something you don't have. Yeah,
Wow.
I
Okay,
am laughed.
that brings us into today.
Yeah, I thought it was a good segue.
So, what kind of boundary do I need to set so you don't talk like that anymore?
Just tell me you don't like it anymore, and I won't do it.
Okay.
At least online. I might do it in person while we're by ourselves.
Well, I know you're joking, so it's
I
funny.
love it. See, there's jokes, and then there's jokes at people's expense. And
Right.
a lot of that's passive aggressive. And passive aggressive takes a lot of faces. They have faces like Sally and Nancy and Lee and, and Lisa and Barbara. I mean, the point is that a lot of people do things like that and they get away with it because they're not in your face calling you ugly names and screaming like a Karen. See that Karen calling someone a Karen is passive aggressive.
Yes, it is.
You know, you know.
And going across all kinds of boundaries.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that it only bothers people if it bothers them. If it doesn't bother them, then it just rolls off their back. And I have a really slick back. Like I was in a thread online one time and this person called me a boomer.
Oh,
And I'm not on top of all of the hip cultural cliches. That's just not what I focus on. And my mind immediately went to when they said, "Okay, Boomer," I said, "Well, I'm not from Oklahoma," because I'm thinking Oklahoma. It's actually Oklahoma Sooners, but my mind heard Boomer, you know. And
it
I'm like,
would.
yeah, but I'm like, why would I be insulted by someone calling me a Boomer when Boomer means someone from my generation? I mean, and am I so stupid that I think I can lie about my age and get away with it? You know,
I do all the time.
I have earned the right to be this old. I've earned it. I have paid my dues. I have paid the interest rate on the loan. I have
Yes.
paid off the principal. I've
Yes.
earned it. So there are times when people are too sensitive. However, if my dear friend says, don't do that, then I have to quit doing it.
Right. And sometimes it's hard though, um, when you're trying to set boundaries because especially when you're just so close to someone, you love them.
Hmm.
You don't want to say, I don't like it. But if you don't speak up for yourself and say, this really hurts my feelings, then you're just going to keep getting your feelings hurt. And then there's going to be a bigger problem.
But what happens when you tell them you don't like it and they say tough? Or they say okay and then they continue to do it? What's next?
Well, I think you have to understand why then.
And decide if you want to put up with it or not.
Right. Right. Because I know that one of the couples I read for um, recently told me, I said, oh, I just see that you have really uh, cleaned house. You got rid of a lot of stuff, even some friends. And they went, yep, we did because we were not liking what they were talking about. And so that's what you have to do. You have to separate yourself.
Well, man, I agree with that so much because, one of the things about me is I know a lot of people. I can relate to a lot of people for short periods of time. I can
Hmm.
tolerate people for short periods of time, but I've never had a large friend circle because I have expectations of my relationships, and that's okay. And it took me a long time to give myself permission to go, that's okay. For me, a really good friendship is like a really good marriage, except
Hmm.
there's no sex.
Right.
It's
Well,
that deep, it's that intimate, it's that committed, it's that transparent, it's that vulnerable.
my father always told me the loyal best friends you have, you can count on one hand.
Oh yeah.
There will
And if
not
you
be, and you won't use all those fingers.
oh, that's
So
just one
I
hand.
count three people
Well,
as someone I'm really, really close to, somebody I can tell anything to. And
I
when
try to
you're,
get three. I try, but they all my friends keep dying.
so you had a brother, right?
I had two
And-
brothers.
Oh, okay. And see, I had no siblings. So I don't really know what it's like, the interaction between siblings.
Well, oh my God, let's just not even go there right now. All I can tell you is that interaction with siblings oftentimes is no different than interacting with cousins or people that you really like, but they don't reciprocate
Mm-hmm.
the the emotions at the same time on the same level. It's up and down, and it's really difficult sometimes to find that synergy where you're on the same page. That's my experience. Now, there are very, very many people that I have encountered over the years that siblings are like second flesh, literally. They're that close. And I can't tell you how shocked I was when I met someone in my 30s who their parents had been divorced, but their parents got together with the children every holiday in the same house and celebrated together as an extended family.
Wow.
And I was like, are you kidding me? My parents don't even talk. They don't even want us talking to each other.
Well,
You
I
know,
know I have a friend who really co-parents well with her ex.
I think it should
It
be that way. I've always
should
said
be.
that it should be in the divorce papers that parents cannot live less than 30 miles from each other until their children are 12.
Wow. Well, I just don't know. I guess I was venturing off in this because as adults, uh, the bickering should be over, right?
Hello, let me get on the phone and call some people I know I could get some really interesting answers to that.
And I guess it's the fact that I didn't have anyone to argue with. So I just think everything should be Flowers and flowers and I don't know what this flowers and something. Anywho,
But yeah, look at us. See, it's interesting that you say that because a lot of people find me a difficult personality because I'm so strong.
hmm
But yet, you and I have just clicked from day one.
well, I have a strong personality, and although I'm quiet and an introvert, um, I understand that strong personality. And then I also do not mind saying, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, I know.
And I don't mind saying no.
Well, and that's my point. A lot of times people think that because someone's quiet, they're not strong. And like my husband, Scott, is a very quiet person. We are both Geminis, which is funny. And I'm like on one spectrum of the Gemini side, if you believe all that stuff. And then he's on the other side of the Gemini. Plus, I have the Taurus in my cusp, whatever that means. I always think of a, but anyway, um, I have ADD thing going on really bad. That's why I was late coming to the show. I got into, and you said you had your pink shirt on, so I wanted to get a pink shirt. So then I realized my closet was not color coordinated. So I had to start color coordinating my closet. And then
There,
I went to brush my teeth and I got toothpaste on the counter. So then I realized the whole counter was dirty, not to my satisfaction. So I had to start cleaning.
oh my God.
And this is why Scott calls me Squirrel. So anyway, going back to Scott.
Oh my God.
Because he's quiet, they assume that I must be the dominant personality. They have no idea how he maneuvers me. That man can maneuver me into a corner so fast it's unbelievable because he's a strong person. It takes a strong person to be with a strong person.
Yes,
It
it
just
does.
it just does. And a lot of people cannot fit that mold, you know. Oh, the dog's barking now. My husband's hollering at it.
That's okay. You forgot to close the door or what?
No, the door's closed. You can see it
Oh, wow.
closed.
Okay. I I very rarely hear Scott yell about anything.
Well, Gemma's getting on our nerves this weekend. She is. There's been. I think it's because of the weather, and we have some construction going on in the area. She's a great Pyrenees. Her job is to bark. That's her
Mhm.
job.
To
Okay.
alert you.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the only way you can really make her stop barking is go, "Good dog, good job, you told me," and then she'll stop. And uh, not everybody tells her that, so she
You have
continues.
to, because that is their job to bark and let you know something's going on. So
Exactly.
that, and that's what you have to do. Thank you. I got it.
Yeah,
Thank you. I
exactly.
got it.
Exactly. So anyway, it takes strong people to be with strong people and to stand their ground. And but the downside to being strong people is a lot of times we let things slide because it doesn't really bother us in the moment, but it does accumulate and it adds up. And
Yes.
sometimes you
And
just reach that saturation point. And when I was younger, I used to explode. I'd had enough. And then people go, "What are you talking about? We've always done it this way. We've always, well, I'm done. I've had enough."
yes, we've always done it this way and it's always bothered me. So now I'm telling you.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's what boundaries are about. And unfortunately, we need to speak up sooner instead of
Yeah.
later. And
Either
I'm
that or pick
guilty.
better friends.
I'm guilty. I mean, I'm very guilty of it. And because when some boundary is passed, you're like, well, this is the first time it happened. It won't happen again. And then it happens again, and you're like, yeah, I should have said something the first time,
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's very difficult. You don't want to upset the other person because you love them, and they're in your life for a reason. I don't let just anybody get close to me. And you don't want to upset them, you don't want to disappoint them, you don't want to feel like you're being inconsiderate or bossy, but it crosses a line.
I had someone tell me something interesting that just popped in my head, and I hadn't thought about it in years. She was a mentor of mine in my late 20s. It was shortly after my husband had died. And she said that strong people a lot of times let things slide, and there's an arrogance behind that. Well, I'm tougher than they are. I am. Sometimes you can, and you're not even thinking it consciously. It's the subconscious trail of thought. I'm stronger than they are, or I'm smarter than they are, or I'm more tolerant than we are. And we're in some ways putting ourselves on not necessarily a pedestal, but above them as far as having better behavior and
Yeah.
a better understanding. So by calling people out kindly and gently on their crap, we're making sure that we're keeping the playing field even. And I just thought of that last night after we hung up the phone and been talking. And I thought, oh, wow. Maybe there's more because I kind of dismissed it. I'll be honest. I blew it off back then, and and but I think there may be something to that. But I think what it is that we hold ourselves to higher standards than we do other people.
Well, I certainly
And I
am
mean,
not
we in the general population, not just you and I.
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
that people that are tolerant sometimes hold themselves to a higher level of behavior and
Hmm.
acceptance, which means that we let people get away with crap.
Well, and I don't feel that I'm more superior than my friends. At least I don't think I do.
I don't think I'm superior, but I do think that I work harder. I and we touched on this briefly several times. It's hard for me to do what I know is the right thing a lot of times. And so this is where my double-edged sword comes into play. So when I know how hard I work to calm myself down, to not yell, to not tell people what I really think of them in the moment, things of that nature,
Hmm.
I get frustrated when I feel like no one sees the effort I put into doing the right thing. And that's ego. And I heard something the other day that I thought was really cool on TV. It says ego is edging God out.
Oh,
And I'm
really?
like, yeah. And I'm like, that's it. That's what ego is. We're putting our own needs and desires and our own emotions ahead of what we know that whether it's God, the Christian God, God, the Jewish God, Allah, the universe, whatever, they all have the same basic teachings of behavior
Yeah.
being kind, considerate, loving,
Hmm.
that type of thing. So we're putting ourselves above what we believe to be our guiding light.
Yeah, we sometimes do that.
I do it a lot, but I'm getting better at it. Yeah, I literally had what I call a come to Jesus meeting a month ago. It tore me up, and you in the process had to walk through fire with me because it involved some of the things that we do together.
Right.
And that's when I think I fully knew how committed you were in our relationship.
Well, I have always said that if I'm gonna do something, I'm either all in or I'm not gonna do it.
Me too. Me too. Because if it's not worth doing 100%, I'm not going to waste my time. That's why I don't do hobbies. I cannot sit there and crochet a million little Afghans and give them away to people and consider that time well spent. Now, that's really weird when you consider how much I love getting gifts. I love getting handmade gifts. I love, love, love it. But I do not value the stuff that I make enough to feel good about it.
Oh, so even if you made an Afghan, you wouldn't give it to somebody because it's not good enough.
That's not that's not good enough, but it's yeah, it's not good enough. But it's you know what I'm saying? I'm not
It's
sure.
somehow flawed.
No, I'm not sure it would impact them. I want it to give them joy
Uh-huh.
when I give it to them. And I'm starting to shift that a little bit. I used to spend a lot of time with my children, my spouse, family. And I mean, I used to start Christmas shopping in July because I really wanted to have these really great, impactful gifts. And now I'm like, I told everybody this year, I'm giving you what I want you to have. That's what a gift is to give people something that you want them to have,
Hmm.
and and it means something to you. And if you don't like it, tough shit.
Oh. We PG just went to R.
I know, but you know what? I haven't said the other words.
Yeah. Well, I hope that I can talk to myself in the next, I don't know, couple
Well,
of
you talk to
weeks.
yourself a lot.
I do talk to myself a lot, but
Even when you're in the car with me, you talk to yourself.
fine, I do. I talk to myself. So I I just as a Scorpio, I have always had a temper. So somewhere around 40 years old, I told myself, you know, this does not serve me to go off
Yeah.
before I think. This does not serve me. Other people look at me like I've lost my mind. So I need to stop and really decide what I want to say to make an impact. So I have calmed down a lot as far as gut reactions go.
But you still feel deeply. That's the problem. You still
Yes.
feel deeply and have no outlet to, it's like a faucet. You don't have a faucet to let it drain.
And the WTF comes to my mind quite a lot. When
Yeah.
I hear somebody say something, I'm like, "Ugh, what? Why? Why did they say that? Am I going to get mad? No. I'm going to think about this."
Well, I react in the moment most of the time, but here's my natural response. Why did you say that? What were you trying to accomplish? Is that getting you what you want? Saying that, is that getting you what you want?
Ah,
Because I'm going to tell you right now, it's pissing me off, or it hurt my feelings, or you have left me very confused. And when I'm confused, I don't want to interact.
right. Well, I know I became quite upset with the apartment management, and they were supposed to, I had it prearranged that every third of the month, whatever month it was, they would they would take funds out of my account, right? It's an automatic withdrawal. So September 4 came, I mean, July 4 came and nothing happened. So I went over there and I said, I'm concerned because my rent hasn't come out of my account and I would like to know, what's going on. And she says, oh, it's the holiday weekend. As manager of these apartments, it seems to me that you might remind people that if they have an automatic withdrawal, that it won't happen till the day after the holiday. It would just, I mean, it would just make everybody so much more at ease.
I
And
don't
then
care.
she says to me, it's not our responsibility. And I went, excuse me? And my eyebrows shot up toward my toward the sky. And she swallowed and realized what she had. I mean, yes, it is your responsibility. The management company is supposed to follow what we put in the and I started yelling, but it was not, I didn't curse once. You'd be so happy. I didn't curse once.
I found that lately when I yell, I don't curse anymore. And I don't know why that is, except that I am trying to do better with my language because I have an extensive vocabulary and I don't want to lose the use of it. But, you bring up a point in my mind. There's a difference in it's not my responsibility versus what's the decent thing to do. It's not my responsibility to offer someone a bottle of water when they're in my yard cutting my grass. But the decent thing to do in 110-degree weather is put a basket of water out there so they can get it if they want it. You know,
Right.
I, I don't know what's happened to courtesy. There's decency, courtesy, and responsibility. And people
Well,
are barely meeting the responsibility, much less the courtesy or the decency in a lot of situations.
it's just automatic to me. You're here sweating yourself buckets and you're doing my yard. Yes, I pay you to do it, but here's some water. I'm concerned about your well-being. I don't want you to pass out when it's 100 degrees outside.
Well, I have a wicker, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back because what I'm doing is I'm sharing here because I've been surprised at the results. Um, I put a wicker basket on my front porch with the sign that says, "We appreciate you." And I keep it full of water. And I go through one of those big, huge cases of water probably every 2 weeks. So I keep like 4 bottles of water in there at a time so they don't sit out there and stay hot for very long. And so it's for like the UPS driver and the FedEx driver and the Walmart delivery people and the
Mm-hmm.
yard people. And if they're just walking down the street and happen to see it, they can come over. And I've even seen a guy come get water and then let stand in my yard and let his dog poop in my yard.
Oops, that wasn't kind.
I wasn't planning on that, but okay, it is what it is. Okay, so maybe it's my imagination, but it seems like I get better results now. People knock on my door when they leave my deliveries now instead of just throwing them on the porch, and I walk out, God knows when, and see it. When I come out the door to pick up the package because I heard the knock on the door, the people are standing by their car and they're waving and smiling. And I wave and smile back and say, "Have a great day. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you guys are doing a great job." If that little 50-cent bottle of water is spreading that much goodwill, my gosh, what if I put bourbon out there or something?
Now, not everybody drinks, Deborah,
Well, we
but
could teach.
I think those things go hand in hand with setting your boundaries because you're thinking about, you know, you always think about others, but you also need to think about yourself.
Well, I call that expanding your boundaries to include others. And to me, that's what, when people say healthy boundaries, I think that's what we're talking about, but we don't maybe express it well, is that I can tell you what I won't accept from you, but I also need to expand my boundaries to include graciousness.
Hmm.
And then maybe I don't have to set so many stricter boundaries because if I'm gracious, people are not going to misbehave so badly.
We can hope. I know there's always those out there that do, regardless. And what you want to do is slap them. But then that goes over your boundary that you
Well,
set for yourself.
I did have an incident last year, and I think about it a lot because I wonder if I should have done something differently, but I don't think I should have. There was a lady, we live close to a Goodwill store, and mother loves to go to Goodwill and go buy cheap books and stuff like that. And I'm always looking for that elusive piece of Pyrex that's not $25 now because I like to collect Pyrex. And the one with the white with the different
Fancy,
patterns and stuff, not
yeah,
the
the
clear
fancy
stuff.
stuff.
And we were standing in line, and this woman just went off on the cashier, and the cashier happened to be a person of color. And she called this person a racial slur. And I threw my crap down on the counter, and we were like 4 people back, and I marched to the I mean, I was reacting. I was not thinking. Let me be clear. I was so horrified and angered. And I went to the front of the line. I said, "You will not talk to her." And I'm using a very loud voice. I'm yelling. "You will apologize to her right now, or I am taking you outside." Now I'm an old woman, people, but I still think I'm 18 sometimes, and I have kicked some butt in my life. And that person looked at me and says, "You can't make me." And I said, "Watch me." And I think the advantage I have is that I get that crazy white woman look in my eyes
Mm-hmm.
because I am a crazy white woman.
Mm-hmm.
And that person and this person could have kicked my butt. Let me just tell you this. okay? Because I'm not as fit as I used to be. I used to bench press a lot of weight and stuff, but I'm not that person anymore. And they turned around and they did apologize. And I said, now get your shit and get out of this store. To me, that was appropriate. Maybe not some of my language, but that was appropriate. And to me, that's part of being in your boundaries. Because my boundaries are is I'm not going to tolerate someone being bullied. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it it just
Scott says I'm
does.
going to get shot. He says I'm going to get shot one day, and I probably will.
Well,
You know,
if you are, you are, but I just it's not necessary to call people names like that.
it was not necessary to react that way. Period. They were upset because the cashier told them that they could not give them a refund, and that's the store policy. Well, she was trying to return a $2 blouse. Get over yourself. And I understand money's tight. I understand, you know, but she says we can exchange it, we can do this, but I cannot refund your money. And
Well, exchange it for
all hell
something
broke
else.
loose. I mean, she bent over backwards trying to placate this person without breaking her rules that she had to live by, you know? So, anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Mm-mm-mm.
Well, I think that's why I don't like crowds, and it's just, you I went into the dollar store one day. I don't remember what I was looking for, but this guy at the front was arguing with the cashier. Um, Evidently he got out of line to go get something, and when he came back, she says, "Sir, you got out of line. You need to go to the back of the line." "No, this is my stuff right here." And she said, there are lots of people here waiting, and they've been very patient, and you left the line." And
Wow.
he started screaming at her, and I was like, mm. But she stayed calm. I was real proud of her.
Yeah, and so sometimes you have to let people do their job, and she had a handle on that.
Mm.
And I often thought maybe I overstepped my boundaries by interjecting on that, but I think that when someone is threatened, and if they've gotten physically threatened or verbally threatened, I think then you have to make a judgment call of, because to me, to sit back and not do anything would have felt like I was endorsing that behavior.
And what about if you saw something like that out in public, two people sitting on a bench? Do you think you would have had the same reaction?
Oh,
Or
I know
would
I
you?
would have. I was on surveillance. I was on surveillance, which means I'm supposed to be hidden or not being observed. And I was on surveillance in this apartment complex one time, and this man and woman came out of their apartment, and he is just whacking her on the head. I mean, he is beating her. And I'm sitting there, okay, I can blow my cover, which means I'm going to have to go get another car to continue this surveillance. I'm going to have to do this, this, and this because this person's going to probably see me if I get out of my vehicle. But I cannot allow that to go on. And there's not enough time for the police to get here. And I got out and I was physically forceful and I put myself in danger. But no, there's something in me that says there are just certain things that are worth taking a position on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And I
I had to
think,
get another car. I had to wear a wig. I had to do all this shit. And, there's another one. Sorry, people. And
yes,
but
but it's not, you can't sit by and watch somebody else be beaten.
no, and I don't even think that the woman was happy that I interjected. Um, I don't know. I don't know if she left him. I don't know if this was a regular occurrence. Probably was
Mm-hmm.
in their relationship. I don't know if it made any difference, but I know that I couldn't tolerate it.
When um when mom and I we were in California somewhere, and Ventura, I think, and we stopped at a little gas station, Easy Mart to get a drink. And these two women were just going at it.
Wow.
And I looked, I mean, mostly it was yelling at each other right in their faces, and the other one was crying. So I looked at the I looked at the cashier and I went, "Do you know what's going on?" He goes, "Oh, they do this all the time."
Oh.
And I said, "Okay," because I was going to say something, but usually what I do is wait for the yelling to be over, and then I ask the what I consider the abused person, "Do you need any help? Do you need, can I intercede for you?" And uh, I didn't this time because of what the cashier said. He goes, "Oh
Yeah,
no, this is for attention," he said.
yeah, it could go badly. There was a circumstance where there was a couple walking down the sidewalk, and I was at the post office, and that guy turned around and just belted her right in the face and just knocked her down. And I got out and I said, "Are you okay? Do I need to call 911?" And she picked up a rock and threw it at me.
Okay, the answer's no.
So I got back in my car and I left. And I did call 911 after I left the area and said, "Look, there's something going on." And I told them what happened. I gave them the address. I have no idea if they were even there when the police got there. I don't know. But I did all I felt I could do at that point. So it's not like I'm looking to wear a cape and put a big S on my chest, you know?
Yes, because the person who is being abused, or um, I mean, they don't have boundaries.
Mm-mm.
They have
No.
not set any boundaries with this other person, and um, a lot of times they think that's the way their life is supposed to be.
Well, it's because they were raised that way. They grew up with that. They've seen it. It's normal. And I think that's true going back to our original entry in this. A lot of people that are passive aggressive or they're snarky, make off the cuff remarks. That's what they're used to because it's the way they were raised. And I do think that sometimes people really do think that that's just them being humorous, which is why I made that joke at the beginning of the podcast.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
humor is very personal, and it's very raw at times, and it does poke holes at the things that are wrong in our lives. But if you're not getting paid to entertain people on a stage, maybe you're not as funny as you think you are.
Right. Right. Well, I live and breathe sarcasm, so I that's where my automatic go-to is. And sometimes I think, wow, that probably wasn't appropriate.
I should give you my T-shirt that says "Speaks fluent sarcasm" because it's really strange. Every time I wear that shirt out in public, I get like stopped 2 or 3 times in a day. People wanting to talk to me about being sarcastic. It's a real attention getter. That one and the other one that I wear that says "I drink bourbon and I know things."
Yeah, yeah.
So, all right, little plug for me and Luann. We are part of the Miles of Smiles entertainment company. We entertain people by going to parties and gigs and telling their fortunes. While we do entertain, we are also intuitive readers. We have designed our own intuitive cards to help people tap into their own spiritual gifts. And the first Thursday of every month, we just passed it. We're at the Intrinsic. Is it Intrinsic Brewery and Smokehouse or Intrinsic Smokehouse and Brewery?
Intrinsic Brewery and Smokehouse. They have barbecue. Kerry, the owner, he comes up with his own brews, and some of them are brilliant. Some of
I
them I
had
don't like.
the frozen Dr. Pepper the other night, and it was
It was
delicious.
awesome.
Yes, it was delicious. And so Luann does readings there, and we generally have one or two other readers. I just sit around and look pretty and
Yeah, she
collect the.
thinks it's her job.
I do, and talk to people, and if people were having to wait too long, because we were very busy last week, and
Mhm.
so if they were having to wait too long, I was taking our little intuitive cards and doing what I call the Las Vegas shuffle, and that's where I'm just throwing down cards and doing these really fast little 30-second readings for them to amaze and amuse them. So,
And this week we really discussed we do essential oils and make little roller balls,
mhm.
and we use a kind of a little quiz, but it's that and intuitive. What do they need? But we thought, you know what, this would be great for people who get married as a little takeaway for their guests. They could come up with a scent they like, and we'll put their names on them.
I'd have to have sandalwood for mine. I love Indian sandalwood, so that'd have to be the
Yeah,
strong note. But we call that the romantic aromas. So if you're interested in that, you can always
romantic
contact
aromas.
us.
Yes, we do.
And or if you want to do the essential oil roll-ons, we actually do a little reading, give them the roll-ons. So that's something that we can do in less than 5 or 10 minutes per person, and
Yeah,
that's a great takeaway at a party or whatever. And
yeah.
that's called Enchanted Essentials. So
Mm.
call us, and we will amaze and amuse you. We will
Yes, we
encourage you,
will.
invite you, and empower you. So.
Yes, it will be quite fun. And no, you never know what we might come up with.
No, but I need those earrings. Where'd you get those earrings?
Oh, one of the girls who is at McKinney Psychic Night, she makes jewelry. She is the Bohemian. Her name is Lou. I think it's Lu. Bohemian Bohemian Jewelry is, I think, is the name of it.
Okay, that's profound. All right.
She's been to a lot of the markets and things, and some of the fairs they have in McKinney, and she works really hard to come up with new stuff all the time.
All right. Well, that concludes us today. We're talking again. If you want to see more about us, go to Herbal Lou Apothecary. Is that right?
Herbal-lu.com.
You. Okay. And then go to Miles of Smiles events.com for our entertainment. And then DeborahRose.com. So we're all over the place. So come see us, call us, email us, and we have an opinion about everything. So,
Yes, if you don't want us to give our opinion, just say it so upfront.
all right, y'all. We will see y'all next week. Bye
Bye
bye.
now.